Well, welcome back to the Forex Fortress. Takes a little bit of concentration to say, but I want to follow up on yesterday's short-term analysis, as we did hit the short-term downside targets, most major pairs coming down to the 21 on the US dollar pairings. So let's check in with what's going on today. So again, very, very short here if you're new to this, which I am as well, as seen as this is my second video with Forex Fortress. But with that in mind, just kind of rehash exactly what we're doing here. We're just going to go down all the major US dollar pairings, and then maybe one or two exotic ones. Maybe I'll show pound yen today, because that's actually my personal favorite one to trade. It's a fucking shit coin with a shit ton of liquidity. It's great. Anyways, looking at this right here for Dixie, as always, want to start off right here, and we do see on the weekly still a downside bias overall. We did get a short-term pop up to the 10 simple yesterday, as we spoke about, which was driving the short-term bias. But now what on the short-term time frames? Is there anything else to be aware of? Well, going down here to the 4-hour and maybe even the hourly, it appears that there's actually not much new things to be spoken about here. I'm actually not getting much from the lower-term time frame charts on this asset. So that does mean that we're going to have to go through each and every one by one to kind of judge exactly where they're at in these setups, as it does seem like we have a bit of a mixed market going on right now. Now, of course, with the daily and weekly, still looking at this as likely to come down a little bit lower in the long term here, somewhere down around 92 to about 92 and a quarter to about 92 and a half. But with the short term, that is very much variable, and we do see a lot of different things going on. And realistically, when we're talking about a daily or weekly like this, we're looking at months of price action realistically. And for the purpose of these videos, I kind of want to have them more in like a short-term time frame schedule, mostly because Forex moves fast and there's new things to talk about, especially on the lower term time frame. So let's go down the list right now. We'll start off with Aussie dollar. And by the way, I should also address this as well. A lot of people were asking me, why am I looking at pairs versus US dollar, like in this in this arrangement, meaning like the Aussie dollar versus US dollar and like Canadian dollar versus US dollar, because typically you're going to be looking at you're going to be trading US dollar versus Aussie dollar and US dollar versus Canadian dollar. It's mostly so that I can just kind of match it up with the other assets that I look at that trade versus US dollar, like traditional markets, like cryptocurrencies, all that good stuff. Obviously, when you're trading on on a major exchange, you're probably going to be trading US dollar first, and then major pair coming second. But it's all the same thing. Just flip it around, and there you go. Anyway, starting off with the Aussie dollar right here. What do we see? Well, we do see that the short term, the 4-hour did hit our short-term target yesterday, the downside. Actually, it seeded a little bit there as well, but getting the bounce off to our proverbial target to the upside as well. So with that in mind, what does the hourly look like here? It actually does look like it's found some short-term resistance, and I would be looking for this one to come back down, likely back down around wherever the 200 exponential moving average is right here. So 71 3/4, it looks like, anywhere between there and the 10 simple at about 71.8 region. But yes, I would be looking for this one to come back down. I believe that we do see a little bit of potential hidden bearish divergence forming right here, 1, 2, 3 stabs actually, but it's not confirmed just yet. So any sort of an hourly closure below the last hourly low, which is 71.9, will produce that and will confirm that. And then yes, I would be looking for another move back down here short term. How does that match up with the medium term analysis, as that could lead us into into tomorrow? Well, I'd probably be looking for a bounce there first and foremost, and I actually want to see this one with fresh eyes tomorrow. But for right now, yeah, short term downside and looking for a bounce somewhere right off this region right here, and then we'll come back into it. I'm curious what the daily looks like here too. Yeah, kind of in a decision phase right now, so I think I'll be stepping away from this one and only talking about the very, very short term. So there you go. And of course, if the hourly does not close below the last hourly low, by the way, probably look for this one to trade sideways. And if we do take out the last hourly high at about 72 cents even, I would extend targets all the way up towards this area right here, right around, let's just put a nice little blue box right there. Actually, let's make it more relevant to this area right here. There we go. Just above 72 cents, it looks like 72.13 to 72.15 region. And I'll throw a little bit of a blue box. But again, that's if and only if it takes out the last hourly high. For right now, looks to me like hidden bearish divergence is forming and likely does trade back down in this region down here. Again, like 71.7 to 71.8-ish region. Anyways, moving on, what do we have with Canadian dollar? Short-term bullish, actually. This one is building a nice base here, and I would be looking for it to still swipe up towards its target at around 76.5. Following up from this one on yesterday, I did say short-term coming back down to the 21. We pretty much got that right there. I consider this a test down to the 21 at 76 cents. Yes, it was slightly lower, but matching up with this horizontal is pretty much the same thing implied. So as long as we're above there, short term it is bullish, and short term I would be looking for this one to pop back up. Let's actually make a nice little liquid zone for this one too. Anywhere between about 76.4 to 76.45 region, anywhere in this little pocket right there. So short term, a little bit upside, and this is again what I'm kind of referencing here. We're seeing a mixed market. We've already seen just Aussie dollar and Canadian dollar on the very, very short terms, kind of contrary to each other. On the daily look, what do we see? Nice little base and breakout, so long term still looking good here. Probably got some more upside on the on the daily, but again, that's that can take some time to play out. Short term though, I would be looking for this one to move up, and of course, what would actually break my bias boner on that one? Well, any sort of a daily, or sorry, not a daily, but any sort of an hour close below 76 cents. And yes, I would be looking for this one to crumble down quite significantly, perhaps even all the way down here towards this horizontal. That is the next relevant one that I do have on the board at 75.5 cents. Anyways, moving on, what do we have with, who is the next one? Where's my pound dollar? There we go. Pound my dollar, baby. This one looks a lot more like Canadian dollar, probably short term, a little bit bullishly biased here as well. Blue box to the upside from yesterday is still very much relevant, and we did hit our downside target from yesterday as well, down around the 21. It's kind of what we were looking for, and that also would imply that if we do take out yesterday's low, which is 130-ish region, I would be looking for that to extend all the way down to wherever the 200 simple is at that time, probably somewhere around this horizontal, just below 130, about 129.8 region. But for right now, short term it is bullish, and I'd be holding on to that. Looking at momentum oscillators are all popping up at the same time. We do see hourly is giving hidden bullish divergence calls, although could already say that we've kind of hit that, but hindsight trading, this one's not going to be very helpful, because this one does this one would have happened after the move, obviously, because it didn't necessarily confirm a low until this portion right here. So does this one have a little more played out? Yeah, probably yes. I'd be short-term bullish on this one as well. Looking at a daily, what do we see? This one also looks constructive on the daily, so yes, I would be looking for a short-term move to the bottom side of the blue box at about 131, and over the next few weeks, probably 131.5 is where I'd be looking towards. All right, what do we got next on top of that? Yen dollar. I almost said it the other way around. I would be looking for a bounce off this area right now. This one's a lot more interesting though. Long term, I do like it. This is a very constructive base and probably does break out to the upside. However, for the short term, I would actually supersede going to the lower term timeframes, because it's a very obvious play right here. So the obvious play is that we very likely do bounce back up towards the blue box territory, right around about 90, just below 95, or sorry, not 95 cents, but not 95 region, we'll call it. And then tomorrow is going to be a critical day. I'd actually really even not suggest even looking at this right now, just because tomorrow is the easy play. If we take out the top side of today, which is 0.9497, I would be looking for a big extension actually overall to this just above 0.95 region right here. Now, by the same token, if we take out today's low tomorrow after this day of the close, sorry, this is getting like really, really crazy right now. But if that were to happen, then yes, I'd be looking for this one actually have quite the tumble all the way back down, somewhere around here to the 55 at about 94.45 region. But for right now, but not for right now, but on the long term, this one is constructive once again, and I do like it. So that certainly should be taken into context as well. If we do go down to the very low term timeframes, on an hourly right here, what does it suggest? I'm not going to be able to make much out of this. If anything, do we have hidden bullish divergences forming? No, we don't necessarily on an hourly, because we do have a little bit of a downtrend going on right there. Buy hourly could potentially do it, actually, could very well do it, actually, if it does head back above the 200 symbol, but margins are tight right here. I'd be looking for a bounce off this level nonetheless, and probably does head back up towards about 94.90-ish region. The question is, though, is the daily. That's going to be the next big play, in my opinion, for this one, and I actually am interested in that one. Of course, it's not financial advice, but not a financial advisor. Anyways, what else do we got? Swiss franc dollar for the last of the last, and then maybe we'll look at an exotic pair or two. All right, it's only 8. We're under 9 minutes right now too. This is insane. Looking at the daily right here. Actually, let's follow up from yesterday. So did we hit the 21 from yesterday? No, not necessarily, but is this close enough? I do still think that it could have a little bit more of a downside presence right there. Yeah, anywhere around 109.5 is probably where I'd be looking for, and then a little bit of a bouncy bounce there. on the short-term time frames. So extremely low-term time frames, yes, a little bit more down, but I would be looking for a bounce off this region. And where is the range? I mean, realistically, I probably wouldn't look for a break of this range today. I'd be looking for it to play out this range. So anywhere between here, and I do think that lower-term time frames are going to be coming back down to this region. Probably does bounce back up and then plays within this range for the rest of the day until we speak again tomorrow. Looking at a daily, what do we see? Daily's more or less fine. I do like the way that the daily looks here, but again, today's closure is going to be very, 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 very critical for judging kind of continuation. Obviously, if we do take out yesterday's high to the upside, which is 110, almost even, I would extend targets all the way up to about 110.4 region right here, in line with this little slew of wicks that we see for a short-term trade as well. So that would be the more obvious one that I see. Again, lower-term timeframes though, probably a little bit more downside, and then I'll be looking for a bounce right here. If this area does fail though, then a bit of problems. Then probably a move all the way back down to the 200 exponential moving average, somewhere around about 109.25, it looks like. Anyways, let's go check out pound yen now and probably call it a day there. Pound yen, what are you looking like? This one, by the way, it moves like a fucking shitcoin. It's really, really crazy. The reason why I like it is because there's a lot of opportunity in it, a lot of setups, and looking at a 4 hour right here, getting the golden cross and consolidating at a high level above a former resistance, now turning out support. Yeah, I would be bullish on this one as well. Probably looking for a move. I don't know how long this one takes, maybe over the next few days, maybe another week or so, but likely back up here towards about 138 and 138.34 region. So I'd be looking towards. That is based off the 4 hour. We do see momentum also just turning back up. I really don't care too much for Stokes and Forex, but I guess it's rounding out my bias there, so I'll show it. No, of course not. But looking at historical volatility percentile, it is very, very low. So we are looking at a move right here. And with that in mind, looking at these major moving average crosses, do I think that the upside is more likely? Yes, I do. Looking at 4 hour RSI, it is relatively, what the fuck is that? That is relatively constructive as well. And well, it did get some divergence calls right there. I believe that these have mostly played out. I don't think that these are real ones anyways. I'm kind of playing with more, generous settings, we'll call it, where it's going all the way back on over here. Obviously, this is not as relevant. Let's see what the daily looks like as well. Yeah, daily looks all sorts of weirds, but yeah, if I have to call this one right now, I would be looking for a little bit of upside over the next couple of days. Looking at a weekly as well, long term. Very shitty chart, no doubt about that. But that doesn't mean that we that we can't have a nice little rally in the short-term timeframes. Proverbially speaking, though, it should be taken into context that we are looking at one massive descending triangle going all the way back to 2016, actually. So again, context of the greater term timeframes is always important. But for the short term, yeah, I would be looking for it to have a little bit of upside here and play at a bit of a pullback from that 138.35 region. And I think that is going to be it. If there's a pair that you really want to see on this, that is like not that I haven't covered, and it's also like somewhat relevant, no fucking like Martian currencies, please. Then I'd be happy to look at it. I want to keep these videos around about 10 minutes long so that they're digestible. But with that said, I'd like to wish you the best. Of course, it's not financial advice. It's the furthest thing from financial advice, and I'll be back on tomorrow. And again, oh man, I should actually say this. Massive appreciation for the feedback on this yesterday. That's why I'll do this series at least for this week, and we'll see how it goes. If people like it, if people don't like it, I'm happy to keep on doing it. It seems like it actually works rather well with my schedule, especially seeing as I can do these videos now kind of right in preparation for regular market opens for US times. So with that in mind, I'd like to wish you well once again. Take care, and until next time.